Hi, this is Ted at Valley of the Dolly. Last year I did a video about the British housing market and the crash that everybody was waiting for. Now a lot of people are saying, my gosh, that was, 6 months, a year ago. What happened? Why didn't we have that crash? Well, I think what happened is you experienced a crash and you didn't even notice it. And I think that's what ended up being the real story. Not that there wasn't a crash, but that there was a big reduction in the value of property and you just never noticed. If you go back to 2007 to 2009, the value of properties dropped by 15% during that period. And this was considered to be kind of a crash because you had inflation at 2 to 3%. It was glaringly obvious that you had this reduction in the value of property. It was impossible to hide it. Well, fast forward to 2021, 2022, 2023, inflation went up to over 10%. And yes, in 2020, 2021, 22, there were a couple years in there where you were seeing housing values go up by 20%, by 10% a year. Well, now you're seeing, since last August, if you look at the real value of homes, that's where you incorporate inflation, you'll see that as of the end of June, according to Property Hub, the real value of property has dropped by 12.5%. Now, remember in 2007, 2009, it was considered a market crash when the value of real estate dropped by 15%. The difference is that during this particular down market, you were oblivious to it, or a lot of people were, because it was hidden by inflation. Because if you looked at the nominal value of real estate, it only dropped by 3%. So that's a very different thing. If the nominal value says it's dropped by 3%, but yet in real terms, incorporating inflation, it's dropped by 12.5%. Those are two dramatically different numbers. So by the beginning of 2025, the Bank of England expects that inflation will be down to 2.5%. And at that point, you may begin to see interest rates on home loans begin to come down. But in the interim, in 2024, you're going to have 800,000 homeowners in the United Kingdom have to go in and refinance their homes. And they expect that when they go in to refinance these homes, they're going to be spending almost £3,000 more a year once they've refinanced. And that is a pretty dramatic increase. That's almost £3,000 a year that you can't spend on vacations, on clothing, food, cars, or on savings. And in another example, and this was by the Times, it was much more startling. So if you bought a house in 2021 and you were at an interest rate of 2.35%, and you now have run out of your fixed mortgage and you're going to go on an SVB, you're going to go on a floating rate for the interest, you're going to see your payment go from £1,100 a month to £1,900 a month. This is over £800 a month. Again, that won't be available to spend on food, on clothing, on cars, vacations. That's what makes people feel less wealthy. Because now all of a sudden the amount that you're spending just to stay in your home has gone up dramatically, maybe 80% in this particular case, right? Why is that important? Because if you just let it go to the variable rate, right, you may have done that because going in to refinance your mortgage would require that you make significantly more for that same mortgage. So if you owe £250,000 and you had a 25-year mortgage and you go in to refinance this because your fixed rate has ended, you're going to pay 4% more, at least probably 4% more in interest every year on this loan. This means that you have to have significantly more income to qualify for that loan. And a lot of people won't have that. So you're going to either let it float on the variable rate or you're going to unload the property because you feel that it's just too much. And I think 2024 we'll see a lot of downward pressure on home prices because you're going to have people who will decide that they want to unload that property because their payments are just too high. Even right now, you see that more than 50% of people who are buying homes in the United Kingdom have been successful in negotiating down the asking price of the property. So buyers are feeling that they have a little bit more power than they used to when it comes time to buy a property. Why do experts say that there isn't really a housing crisis right now? They say even though prices in real terms are down by 12.5% and may be down by 15 to 20% when this is all done, is because you're not seeing massive unemployment. You're not seeing a massive reduction in the amount that people are spending in the consumer goods area. Therefore, it doesn't have all the hallmarks of a housing crash. So in 2024, yes, you may see some additional really good opportunities to buy into 2025. But because even after inflation comes down, the central bank of the UK will probably not want to bring interest rates back down to 0 or 1%. They're going to want to keep it up at a workable level, maybe 2 to 4%. So you're not going to see quite those astronomically low interest rates that we had before. So yes, people will be paying more for their housing, and it will be reflected in those higher interest rates, and that will be one of the major causes. The CEO of the largest UK home builder has said the key current challenges are affordability and mortgage product availability. What did he mean by this? He meant that even though you can say that there's a shortage of new houses being built or there aren't enough houses on the market, the key challenge right now isn't that. The key challenge is, are they affordable enough that somebody can come in and buy it? And if they can come in and buy it, what kind of mortgage option are they going to be granted? And how many people are being left out of the market because there's not a mortgage option that will work for them? Another key point is that Halifax noted that in June 2023, they saw the largest reduction in the price of housing that they've seen in the last 12 years. And that was 2.6% alone in that month. So there is reason to realize that prices are going to be more affordable in 2024. That's why if it was me, I would probably look at waiting until 2024 versus 2023. I'd be really interested to hear what your feedback is. Again, I'm not a real estate agent or a real estate expert or investment expert, so I'm looking at this information for my own interest, and I'm hoping to share some of those points with you. But in the end, it really comes down to you to make that decision on what you feel is the best option for you. And it really does mean doing your research, because buying a home is a huge investment, probably one of the biggest investments you'll ever make. And it really is important that you buy at a price that makes that item affordable and will give you a strong investment. This is Ted at Valley of the Dolly. I look forward to talking with you again. Thank you.